So welcome back. Today we are going to understand logistic regression in the simplest possible way. Don't worry about the name, it's not complicated. By the end of this session, you will clearly understand what it does and why we use it. Okay. Now, what is logistic regression? So logistic regression is a supervised learning algorithm. That means we train it using data where we already know the correct answers. Okay, it is mainly used for classification problems, right? For example, yes or no, 0 or 1, pass or fail, spam or not spam. So whenever the output is only two categories, logistic regression is one of the simplest and most powerful tools we can use. So linear regression predicts numbers like 75 marks, 2000 salary, right? But logistic regression predicts the probability, a value between 0 to 1, which we then convert into a class, right? Now let us understand the data. So the independent variable, also called input feature, okay, which is nothing but what we give to the model. For examples, if you see here, Howard studied. So the dependent variable is what we want to predict. In this case, particular example, pass or fail. So if it is pass, I am giving it as 1. If it is fail, I am giving it as 0. So if a student studies 1 hour, if you see here, they fail. If the student studied 3 hours, again they failed. If the student studied 5 hours, means pass. That is nothing but the value I have been given is 1. If the student studied more than 8 hours, let us say, then they passed. So clearly more hours studied increase the chance of passing. So logistic regression will learn this pattern automatically. Now comes the heart of logistic regression. So the sigmoid function. So the sigmoid graph looks like this in a S shape. Okay. So which means in this particular graph, if you see here, the values will be lying between 0.5 to 1. So if it is in between 0.5 less than 0.5, then it is labeled as class 0. If it is more than 0.5, then we can label it as class 1. Right? Because a simple linear equation can give negative values or larger values, but the probability must always be between 0 and 1. That is the reason. So the S-shaped curve converts any number into a value between 0 to 1. Okay. So first the model calculate the score using linear equation. Then that score is passed through this S curve. The output becomes a probability which lies between 0 and 1. So do not worry too much about this formula right now. So just remember these functions keys us values into the range 0 to 1. Now once we get the probability, how do we decide pass or fail? We use a simple rule. If the probability is greater than or equal to 0.5, we say class 1. If the probability is less than 0.5, we say class 0. So if student studied 5 hours and model says the probability is 0.81, that means 81% of chance of passing. So we predict it as pass. If probability is 0.35, that means 35% chance, so we predict fail. Okay. So how does the model learn the correct values of parameters? Is nothing but it uses maximum likelihood estimation, and it is optimized using gradient descent. I will be explaining in the future classes. This is about the logistic regression. If you are having any doubt, let me know in the comment section. Feel free to comment so I can answer every comment. Thank you guys.